a list of distinguished speakers and panelists on the stage with me who will need no introduction. Nevertheless, let me introduce them briefly. The keynote speaker for this session is Ms. Silvana Teniero, who is a professor of economics at the London School of Economics. She is also a former external member of the Monetary Policy Committee at the Bank of England and a former president of the European Economic Association. In addition to her, we have three distinguished panelists. As central bankers of resource-rich countries, they all bring valuable insights to the issues we want to discuss this morning. We have first Khagwasran Vayagran, the governor of the Bank of Mongolia. He's been the governor of the Bank of Mongolia since November 2019, and previous to that, he's held senior positions at the Bank of Mongolia, including as a deputy governor. We also have Grant Spencer, who was already introduced in the first session. He's a teaching fellow in the School of Economics and Finance at Victoria University of Wellington, and previously was the deputy governor of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand from 2007 to 2017. And finally, we have Philip Lowe, who served as governor of the Reserve Bank of Australia between 2016 and 2023. He also chaired the Committee on the Global Financial System of the Bank of International Settlements from 2018 to 2023. Before I call on the panelists, let me say a few words about what we will cover in this session. The topic, monetary policy in resource-rich countries, is quite fitting as the mining sector plays a critical role in Mongolia's economy. Resource-rich countries often face large terms of trade shock with significant implications for growth and external and fiscal imbalances. Increased global commodity price volatility in recent years is also posing challenges for central banks in many other countries. Our first topic of discussion, therefore, is how should monetary policy respond to negative terms of trade shocks? Second, a critical topic of discussion is the role of fiscal and monetary policy consistency in the successful implementation of an inflation targeting framework. Fiscal dominance, where fiscal policy effectively constrains or overwhelms monetary policy decisions, is a common feature across many countries. Without well-functioning fiscal rules, fiscal policy also tends to be pro-cyclical in resource-rich countries, often overburdening and compromising the effectiveness of monetary policy. So then the question is, how can central banks effectively implement an inflation targeting framework in this environment? And finally, we'll discuss the specific challenges of central bank credibility in countries prone to commodity price shocks and facing fiscal dominance. What is the role of central bank communication and independence in such cases? Can central banks continue to operate with negative capital? And what has been experienced with other central banks in similar situations? So these are the topics we'll be discussing in this session. But before we do that, let me invite Professor Teniero to give us a keynote speech today. Professor.